Hi everyone. Sorry I've not made any announcements or sent any emails out. There's not really been an awful lot to say recently about the way things have been going in dentistry. From a patient point of view, the practices are all still closed. That's an enforced order from the Department of Health via the Chief Dental Officer, so we've not been able to open. There are now obviously the emergency dental centres that are up and running, and some of our patients have had to be seen in those for some emergency care, and the feedback has generally been that they've worked okay. But we're now getting to that point where we're, as a profession, looking at moving back into opening in some form. And again, there isn't any real hard information out there, and in fact some of us are working quite hard to try and write some of this information because of the lack of it, and some of us are being tasked to actually help with that. So I'm aware that there are things that are likely to happen in the not too distant future, and as a result what we've done is we start to put things in place in the practice ready for a reopening. And the way that that'll work is we will have what we call a soft start, where we will start with some of the team getting the practice ready, making sure that everything obviously works, because it's been shut down for a while, although the girls have been going in and checking and testing things out, but we need to make sure everything's up and running from day one when we actually then start. And it looks very much like then that we'll be able to see a limited number of patients who are having problems, and we will have to wear a variation of the kind of protective equipment that we would normally be wearing, and some of it will be more significant than before, but rest assured that everything we're going to do is going to be for yours and our own protection whilst we go through this interim phase. So what will be happening, we'll be sending you some emails and updating our website with a lot of the information, but basically we'll be prioritising in the first week or so back all those patients who've had a problem that we already know about, who've contacted us, and trying to treat that or see at least how we can deal with that. And then we're going to look like having the facility to be able to treat ongoing emergencies and problems that are occurring that are maybe not as urgent from a pain point of view, but are urgent to you. So we can then start to sort those out. We're still not sure how that's going to look from the point of view how many patients a day we'll be able to see, but what we are fairly certain about is that we won't be able to have the same number of patients because of social distancing, and also the fact that we're going to have to let the air settle in the surgeries for some of the safety mechanisms that we're going to put in place to work. So it'll reduce the amount of manpower that we can actually have at the practice at any one time. So that's going to have an impact on the volume of patients that we can see. But we're not sure how long that's going to last for, because again, we're being kept a little bit in the dark from our powers that be as to how this is working. And to tell you the truth, it does feel a little bit like dentistry has been forgotten about during this, and hopefully it's that's going to get back into the mainstream, because it's a vitally important part of people's healthcare. I'm particularly concerned that I've not been able to monitor and look at my patients for the past sort of 8 weeks. In fact, by the time we get back, it may be 10, 11 more weeks, and that's a great concern for mine, and I know my other dentists, Julia, Richard and Andy, all share that concern. So it's quite critical that we get back, even if it's just to look at what's going on. So we're trying to work everything out around that basis to try and get some form of normality back. But I think it's probably right to say that there won't be normal service for a little while, because we don't know what kind of criteria that we're going to be allowed to work under, and where the continued risk of the coronavirus will be within the population as a whole. So these are just still the unknowns. I think we're probably less unknown than some of the you can go out, you can't go out, you can go to work, you can't go to work, but if you go to work you've got to be socially distanced, unless you can't be socially distanced, in which case we're not going to have any of that. We're going to have some pretty robust what we call standard operating procedures, and we're busy drawing things like that up. So we're confident that it will be a safe environment for you to be seen in and for us to be working in. But we've obviously got to be careful that we don't take any risks with anybody's health. So that's where we're going to be working. So this information, there will be more of it as we go along, but at this stage we're probably working for as I've said, a week before as a soft start, where we'll be getting in touch with people who've got a problem, letting people know what the kind of criteria are. We will want you to complete a medical history before you even come into the practice, and we'll be doing a lot of things by no touch. So if there was anything that needed paying for instance, we'll be doing that either by telephone beforehand, rather than using the card machine at work. So all the things like that, we're trying to reduce any risk. You may find that when you see us, we might look a little bit different because some of the PPE that we're going to be wearing, it'll be slightly different. Gowns and hats, for instance, and I don't look good in a hat, so that's going to be amusing for most of you anyway. But it's things like that that are going to be a little bit of the new normal for a little while longer yet. But hopefully we're coming out the other side of this, and I would just like to say thank you to all our patients for the messages of support that we've had during all this. I know my team have been they've been very buoyed up by the fact that our patients have been thinking about us, because we've been thinking about you all the time. It's a great concern that in some way we've not been able to look after you in the way that we normally have. But rest assured, moving forwards, we are going to carry on looking after you, and if anything, we are going to improve even further the services that we offer, because I think a lot of people are thinking along the lines of that this new way post-corona is a little bit of a reboot for the entire world, and maybe we've all got to look at a lot of the things in a different way. So again, these are things that we're thinking about as a business, as to how we can actually help and make things better and easier for our patients. But at the moment, it's still all a little bit woolly, but it's not as woolly as it was. So hopefully that's a slightly more positive message and a more direct message than the yes but no but, yes but no but, you can but you can't kind of message that some have said that they've had this week from our leaders. So as I get to know more, I will obviously let all of you know more. And once again, thank you, stay safe, and it's stay alert now, isn't it? So stay alert. Britain needs alerts.